Welcome to What is Consecration, Part 2.
Hi, it's Kathy, and I'm back with the next reading in our series on consecration. And today I'm going to read from Roy Posner's book, A New Way of Living. But before I do, I took a couple of notes of something that happened in the last several days that I thought I'd share with you, and they are consecration related. This is a harder thing to quantify because it's not a physical thing that happened. It's not like I got something physical as a manifestation, but rather it was something deep within. I was consecrating attitudes within myself. As I've read to you, and as you'll see as a kind of an ongoing theme, if we're consecrating something that we're not happy with, a lot of times we can find that corresponding attribute or that wanting quality within our own selves. I've tested this over and over. Ever since Roy Posner brought this to my attention, I've tested it over and over, and honest to God, it's true. I haven't found one instance yet where it hasn't been the case. And so I was consecrating some stuff external to myself. Started looking at it saying, okay, wait a minute. What about that situation might be within me that I need to consecrate? What is bothering me about that situation that is probably somewhere hidden within myself? And I do this all the time now, all the time, every single day without fail. And lo and behold, sure enough, I was able to dig something out. In fact, it's interestingly, in biblical scripture, there's a part where Jesus says something to the effect of, before you find fault or want to take the speck out of your brother's eye, take the log out of your own eye. And that's in keeping with these teachings, where Mother is saying, or Aurobindo, or the teachings would say, if you're finding something going on out there, look within, because that's where there's going to be an issue. Almost guarantee it. So I'm consecrating away, and sure enough, I'm finding one thing after another, after another, after another. Consecrating it. Well, this morning, I was driving down the road to meet up with a friend of mine for a morning walk. And as I was doing so, my attention flashed to something that prior to this consecration effort, my attention flashed to something that had previously irritated me and annoyed me. And what was astonishing to me and what caught my attention about it is I felt nothing but total love. It was really almost weird. It's like I'm driving along thinking of this thing, and there was this physical thing that I could see that reminded me of it, and all I felt from within was this total peace and love, and I can't even describe it to you. So it's not a tangible thing. It's not like something fell out of the sky into my lap. It's just something that happened within. And I was really excited about it, so I had to write it down so I could tell you about that before I start reading. So anyway, enough of that nonsense. Let me get to some of the readings. And as I'm reading some of these passages in Roy's book, if I find something where I've had an experience, I'll try to stop and relate it to you. And so with that said, let's get going, and thanks for tuning in. See you in a bit.
The Great Secret, Opening to the Spiritual Force, or Consecration. Perhaps the greatest secret known to man is the existence of a power that, when accessed, can attract instantaneous good fortune, solve any problem, enable ultimate success, and bring about infinite great joy and delight. By opening to the spiritual force before taking any action or commencing any activity, one experiences a sudden shift of luck as life begins to cooperate from every quarter. When we open to the force before commencing an act, we attract sudden good fortune as problems are solved, new possibilities arise out of nowhere, and activities are completed in the shortest period of time with the least effort, revealing an astonishing organization and efficiency. The process of bringing in the spiritual element before acting is called consecration. By consecrating any act, activity, event, or circumstance, we enable the spiritual force to take over, bringing to bear its infinite powers to bear. One unique quality of a consecrated act is that the results that come are marvelously original and creative. They usually take shape in ways we never would have imagined. And a little note there, I can attest to that, having experienced it myself. Okay, back to the reading. A woman had an X-ray done, indicating a possible growth in her chest. She had faith and decided to consecrate the return visit to the doctor. The doctor, completely baffled, told her that his new reading of this very same X-ray, not a new one, revealed a completely normal condition. It should be pointed out that a consecrated act can affect not only our own selves, but a number of other individuals, such as everyone in the local community, or in an entire population of a state or a nation. If a person is deeply interested in the problem affecting that collective and consecrates the issue with great intensity, life can respond overwhelmingly and eliminate the burden for the entire group. California was threatened by continuous energy shortages. There had been several brownouts, and there was an imminent threat for more of the same in the coming days, even the coming months and years. One individual took a great interest in this issue and educated himself on the subject from various perspectives. He then consecrated the problem deeply, offering it to the spiritual force. In the next several days, the crisis suddenly and most unexpectedly came to an end. In fact, from that point on, there was not a single major outage for years to follow. Spiritual results too. In addition to these wondrous practical outcomes, such as curing an illness, solving a problem, bringing a family together, or ending a drought, a consecrated act can also attract spiritual results as well. Examples are the sudden arrival of profound stillness and richness within, a deep connection to others or the world around us, or a deep, abiding joy and delight in being alive. Here's a real-world example. An instructor's class was going very poorly one morning. Nothing seemed to go right. He then decided to consecrate the afternoon session by offering it to the higher power. Thereafter, every conceivable thing went right. In addition, a deep peace and palpable richness could be felt in the classroom throughout the remainder of the day. This capacity of consecration to evoke profoundly spiritual response from life is indicative of the super subtle, that is, causal, nature of the force. And that expresses in two unique ways. First, we not only align with existing positive conditions, as is normally the case with life response, but unprecedented, creative conditions that never existed before on Earth suddenly appear. Second, by opening to the force, we experience various shading of the spirit, including feelings of peace, power, knowledge, truth, love, beauty, delight, oneness, unity, and infinity. These are all attributes of the infinite consciousness that we can experience through our consecrated efforts.
Changing yourself when results do not come. Though the results of consecration are truly remarkable, there are instances where it will simply not produce tangible life response results. Though this seems disconcerting at first glance, there's a very simple explanation. The fact is that in certain situations, the force cannot work its magic unless a corresponding limitation or weakness on our part is overcome. And yet, as soon as we rectify that wanting element, a previously consecrated action quickly bears fruit. Here's an example. An individual opened to the force to consecrate a difficult situation he was having with his boss. Though he offered the problem with great intensity, there were still no results. He then thought about it and realized that for months he had acted too weakly and indecisively in his relationship with his superior. He therefore decided to confront his boss directly about the issues in question. When he made that effort, not only were current difficulties resolved, but a painful neck problem that had dogged him for months instantly disappeared. In situations where consecrated effort evokes no obvious positive results, it's helpful to discover the corresponding wanting element that is blocking the force from acting. Often it is rooted in our attitudes, such as a negative feeling or emotion about others, ourselves, life, and work. Other times it is due to a lack of cleanliness and orderliness, missing skills and capacities, lack of effort, bad decisions, and other limiting personal qualities. However, as soon as we identify and overcome that limitation, the force immediately moves into action, releasing its infinite powers on our behalf. I just want to take a minute and remind you of what I said at the beginning of this video of one of my own experiences just in the last couple of days, where I was annoyed by something and I looked within. I found an attitude within myself. I worked on consecrating that, and it was just remarkable how it turned around. Okay, let's continue. From the macro to the micro. One of the more interesting aspects of consecration are the various levels we can apply it. Most individuals will have the wherewithal to consecrate major events in their lives, such as an important meeting with a client, or an upcoming marriage ceremony, or the first day of a child's schooling. This is the simplest and most compelling aspect of life to consecrate. It takes more discipline, however, to consecrate less critical activities, such as the work session one is about to begin, or the class one is about to teach, or a drive one is about to take. Yet this, too, can attract powerful, positive results. More challenging still is to consecrate the very smallest of acts, such as brushing one's teeth or the placing of food in the microwave for heating. Yet, consecrating these minor activities can elicit powerful response. This is the case because the force does not make distinctions between the infinitesimal and the very large, as it is ready to rush in with its infinite powers wherever there is an opening. Unattached intensity. Yet another interesting aspect of consecration is that the more intense the consecration, A, the more likely life will respond, and B, the greater the quality of the response. By intensity, we mean that our ardor for the divine help should be sincere and passionate. Conversely, we need to be careful that our ego does not get in the way of our consecrated efforts. For example, there should be no demand or insistence on a particular outcome. Instead, we should accept the results that come in full, for the divine is always looking out for us when we open to its power. And I just want to break away here, and I have to sometimes remind myself that it's more about thy will be done rather than what I'm thinking might be in my own best interest, because the divine knows better than I do. Okay, let's continue. In the end, the best approach is a combination of the two that we can call unattached intensity, a fervor in offering the act to the divine, yet detached from the results that come, welcoming all and everything that results. For example, a consultant was working with a client. The discussions among the staff about an upcoming project became contentious, reaching a fevered pitch that could lead to fisticuffs. The consultant saw that he was now in a difficult situation and the entire project was now in jeopardy. He also perceived that another project he was working on would also be endangered. And as a result of these events, he became somewhat confused and agitated. That evening, he offered the problem to the divine. He asked with great intensity for the force to resolve the situation and ease his burden. He said something like, "Oh, divine, here is my plight," and then went on to explain the situation in details. "I offer the problem to you." He then let go of the situation, forgot the problem, and went to bed. The next day, when he met with the client, he was stunned that there was no further discussion of conflicting issues of the previous day. Instead, everything went orderly and smoothly. Most compelling of all was that palpable calm and silence permeated that room for the remainder of the day. As we see, a consultant's intense yet unattached consecration produced marvelous results. That expressed in two ways, as practical results in the form of a negation of a previous problem, and as the spiritual results in the form of the calm and peace that permeated the atmosphere. Moreover, as we practice consecration on a regular basis, we will find that intensity and ardor, as well as patience, positive attitude, cheerfulness, and equality will always serve us well, just as expectation and demand will delay or cancel the action of the force. Inner orientation for maximum results. There is one other obstacle that we are likely to face in our effort to make consecration an integral part of our lives. It is that once you take up the effort, there is a tendency for our lower consciousness to fight back and insist on its old habits and routines. As a result, our efforts towards consecrated action tend to wane over time and sometimes stop. Well, what then can we do to prevent the recurrence of the obstacles presented by our unevolved, obstinate, unyielding, and inflexible lower nature? One approach is to begin to move our center of consciousness and frame of reference away from the surface bubbling and stimulations of life to a deeper poise within. And from that status, we're less likely to find ourselves caught up in the visual and audio influences on the senses. And thus, we are less likely to lose our focus and interest in consecrating our actions. Through meditation, consecration, that is, inner, one-pointed focus, and other disciplines, we can shift our moment-to-moment awareness away from the surface of life, from its bubblings, allures, and intensities to a deeper state within. And gradually, we'll feel an inner space developing and mental silence taking root. And from that more spiritual-oriented poise, we are more likely to feel that urge to consecrate our actions, leading to ever more frequent, wondrous, positive responses from life. And it also works the other way. The more we consecrate and offer acts, issues, and problems to the higher power, the more we tend to develop a more inward focus and orientation. At the point where we feel inner peace and silence, not distracted by the superficial, surface, transient, and yet are also offering acts and events in our lives to the Spirit, we will have surely arrived at a dramatically new level of consciousness in our being. And it is at that point that we have entered a new stage, a new path of personal progress, evolution, and transformation. Hi, I'm back with one more reading in this video, and I just wanted to emphasize this particular section of the book because this is where Roy really puts together some nitty-gritty, some step-by-step guidelines for us as we learn to consecrate, and hopefully you'll find it as helpful as I did. So I wanted to go ahead and let's finish up this video with this particular section, and after you watch it, I hope that you'll practice some of these techniques for yourself and find them as enriching as we do and as I do. All right, let's get moving. Thank you. Consecration and spirit-based living. One of the choices that we have available to us is whether or not we wish to move to the Spirit. If one does, then we can begin with one essential approach to life, consecrated existence. Normally, when we take up an activity, we just do it. Usually there's some thought involved, perhaps some planning, a certain will to achieve, and the physical effort to make it happen. And this is the way we normally accomplish our objectives in life. However, if we choose to live a spirit-oriented existence, this approach will not suffice. In a spirit-oriented life, actions are taken not merely for our own sake, but for the divine's sake, fulfilling its will, purpose, and intent. And when we focus our intention to accomplishing an act for that higher purpose, we are in essence consecrating the act. And when we do, stunning developments are likely to follow as the act is infused with the spiritual powers of the divine. Consecration in this way is then the central method that distinguishes a spirit-oriented existence from an ordinary one. How then do we consecrate? It's actually rather simple. Before we begin any activity, such as reading an email or a meeting with a new client, we can pause for a moment, concentrate ourselves within until we are somewhat still, and offer that which we are about to undertake to the higher power. And when we do so, we not only give what we are about to embark on greater purpose and meaning, but what takes place thereafter will tend to have the stamp of the divine action upon it. The act that we have consecrated will tend to unfold better as positive situations and circumstances unexpectedly arise, where previously problematic circumstances will begin to dissipate, and where a feeling of calm and well-being will permeate the atmosphere. In other words, by consecrating the activity, life will begin to cooperate from all quarters. It is the power of the spiritual force in action. Let's consider an example. Say you're about to begin an important activity. Before beginning, close your eyes, quiet your mind a bit, and then list out in your thoughts some of the details of what you are about to embark on. Now, try to come in contact with the spiritual force in the atmosphere. Then, Say something like, "Oh, divine force, I offer X and Y, the things you're about to embark on, to you. I do this work for your sake, so that your power, force, energy, wisdom may suffuse the work." Then let go of that deep aspiration and continue on with the activity. Sometime thereafter, notice if anything special has taken place. Perhaps an unexpected positive development has come to your attention, or you've experienced an unexpected instance of good fortune. Now, if you see the benefit, consider if and how it is related to your effort at consecration. Try consecrating in this manner several times in the course of the day and see whatever results come your way. Now, at the end of the day, tally the benefits that you've received as a result of your inner effort to engage the Spirit in the activities of your life. As you experience the wonder of these powerful results, you will be energized to no end. You will begin to see the power of the spiritual magic at work in your life, that life operates in ways you would never have thought possible, that you have an awesome power at your disposal to direct the course of your life. And in addition, as you consecrate activities on a regular basis, you will have taken the first decisive steps towards living a spirit-oriented existence. At a later stage, you will feel not only this sense of wonder, but begin to develop a certain desire to surrender to this power. You will begin to see that you are making the effort at consecration not so much for your own personal achievement and success, but to fulfill the divine purpose and intent. You will begin to feel that you are becoming an instrument through which the divine intention and will can flow. And at that point, you may begin to surrender your very life's purpose and existence to the divine. Then your own individual soul purpose and the divine purpose will begin to merge. Such spiritual experience and realization in the activities of life is perhaps the greatest joy known to man. Okay, so that's going to wrap up this particular video, and I will have more coming down the road here. And the body of work is endless when it comes to the teachings of Sri Aurobindo, the mother, and Karmayogi. And this really just touches the tip of the iceberg. But for this particular video, if you took away nothing other than that last section, I do encourage you to just try it. Try it over and over and over again. Now, I have found that it's consistency that really helps, and that's when I really start to feel the results, and I think that you may find the same. Okay, so please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you here. I have a lot of stuff coming up, and just enjoy having you join me. So enjoy your day. Thank you again, and we'll see you again soon. Bye now.